girl, vibing. I feel like I missed that music popping in.
No, listen, we are here. We are back. This is the Relationship Exchange,
Yeah.
SMD. If y'all have not been tuned in, this is the perfect time to tune in. Tag somebody, get them on the show, let them know that we are here tonight, getting ready to talk about some relationships, whether you're single, married, or divorced, or somewhere in between. Look, maybe you're in a situationship, whatever it looks like. We are here to talk about it all. So, how's your day been?
It has been busy. This work life balance don't be balancing sometimes.
Oh, girl, it be acting straight crazy. Sometimes I'm like, oh my God, it's 8 o'clock comes by so
Whew.
fast.
Yes,
Dang.
I feel
I
the
don't know
same
about
way.
you, but it's rolling.
It is, and I'm like, when you get up early in the morning, it is just something about that first morning. You like, okay, it's gonna be a great day. You trying to energize yourself and get it together. You might listen to Empower Mornings. Okay, then you got your juices flowing, you ready. But then it's like by 4 o'clock, you still at work. You like, wait a minute. Wait
Wait
a
a
minute.
minute. Hey, look, I need me a rejuvenation. I need me a shot of something. I need to go back and
Listen.
get myself together because I'm telling you, the time goes by so fast. But I'm also glad because we get a chance to get together, come and talk about these hot topics, these relationship confessions, the exchange confessions. I'm telling y'all, if y'all have looked at the first three shows, y'all already know people are coming with some good stuff. They are
Yes.
wanting to know some deep things. And I know that if they want to know, they are not the only ones. There's some other people out there who want to know what's going on too. So y'all make sure that y'all like the broadcast, share it, tag somebody. We're going to be here Tuesday nights, 8 p.m. And it's all about relationships. And y'all know that when you're in a relationship, sometimes it can be the best feeling in the world. But then you can be in other relationships and you be like, let somebody help me before I catch a case. That's just the reality of it. Like, y'all, you already
You
know.
like
And it
that?
doesn't have to be in a love relationship, romantic relationship. I mean, that could be with family, that could be with business partners. I mean, that can be with friends. We all have some things that we go through that are challenging. But as Marie, the good news is you can work through things. You don't have to, knock down, drag out. You can have good communication skills. You can, what Tina Turner said, what love got to do with it? Sometimes love does not
Right.
conquer all, right? Sometimes love, you looking like, yeah, I love you, but I can still get you if I need to, right? So,
Absolutely. You got to make it do what it do. That's what they say, right? Make it do what it do. You can work through anything though. That's the thing. If you can muster up and go to work every day, 5 days a week, or however many days you work, then you
mhm,
definitely can take time to make a relationship or a situation work
yeah,
if your heart is truly in it. That's for sure.
that is for sure. So listen, we're not gonna hold back. We're gonna go on and jump into the confessions because I'm telling y'all, people want to know because they have some things they're dealing with. So, Marie, who's the first person? What are we talking about off the rip?
So, listen, we got some good ones tonight.
Okay.
So, it's more or less tonight is questions, not really stories. We have one story, but we're going to start off with some questions. So, the
Okay.
first one, it says, how can couples resolve conflict? Like, what are good ways to improve how we handle things while in the heat of the moment?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a good question. Um, and then part two of that, she says, also, ladies, you often talk about communication, but can you provide information on how we can improve our communication skills with one another? So, you want to start off? You want me to go?
I can start off. So the
Okay.
first, read the first one again.
So the first one is, how can couples resolve conflict? Like, what are good ways to improve how we handle things in the heat of the moment?
Okay. So when you're in the heat of the moment, to be honest with you, the first thing you need to do is pause and take a breath.
Yes.
Take a step back because y'all know that in the heat of the moment, you're going to say some things that later on you're going to regret. You can do some things that may put you in the hospital or in jail. you're going to create some problems. So you need to really kind of take a step back, take a deep breath. Sometimes they tell you to count to 10, but be mindful of where
Yeah.
you are and who you're with before you take it to 10. Before you take it all the way. You can't go from 0 to 100 and expect for things to
Right.
still be good after the fact, because
Absolutely.
y'all know sometimes we get in situations and in the heat of the moment you can hit a low
Mhm.
blow. You can bring us some things that really don't have anything to do with what's going on right now. You
Mhm.
can, maybe call somebody out their name. You can, do some things that later on, when you're thinking clear, you're going to regret. So take a pause and make
Absolutely.
sure that you speak from a calm place and
Mm.
that you address the issue at hand. Don't go back trying to find out what we did in 1999 and 2008 or 3 months ago. We're not talking
Right.
about that. Deal with the current situation. Second thing I
Absolutely.
want to say is listen to understand, not to
Yes.
respond.
Ooh.
A lot of
Yes.
times we are so caught up in trying to say, I need to get my turn to say what I need to say. Oh, when
Yeah.
you get through, I'm getting ready to get you. That's not what we're doing, though. Not when you're trying to have good communication, right? What we need to do is, as you take that pause, listen so that you know exactly what's being said. Because sometimes we run off and start clowning and cutting up, and you've really missed the whole thing because you're just trying to get your 2 cents in. But if you
Right.
are coming from a calm place and you really listen, sometimes people say things because they're hurt. Sometimes
Absolutely.
things happen because they're misunderstandings. They just need to be cleared up. But you don't know that if you're so busy trying to respond and give them what
Mhm.
you want to say, and you're not listening. So we got
Yes.
to take some time. And when you come from a mature space, you're going to be able to back up a little bit and let me listen to what you
Mhm.
say first. And then let me think about
Absolutely.
what I want to say so that there's no misunderstanding, so that you
Absolutely.
can hear me and I'm coming from an empathetic place. But also, you got to be looking for solutions that are mutually beneficial for both of you. Because what
Yes.
happens is we just want to win. And I know on the Empower Morning Show, we say all we do is win, 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 no matter
Win
what.
no matter what.
But if you're winning and you're with your significant other and
Right.
they're not winning, then the solution hasn't been mutually beneficial. And what you
Absolutely.
want to do is have a solution that's going to make sure that both of y'all win, because you're a team. And when you're a team, you
Yeah.
can't be what they say, a house divided against each other will fall. You can't be divided in what you
At
all are
all.
doing. You got to be on the same page. That's where strength and unity comes from. And you got to
Mhm.
also know that just because Tom, Dick, and Harry responded a certain way and handled things a different way, Larry and John and Mike may do it totally different. And so you want to make sure that you deal with people accordingly, not based off
Absolutely.
of what your grandmama and them did, and your mom and them, and your cousin and them, and all that.
Right.
You got to work out your situation with the person that you're with, and y'all got to do what works best for the two of you. And it may
Mhm.
not be popular for everybody else, but if it's working for you, that's where the strength lies. That's how y'all can grow together. That's how y'all can take your relationship to the next level, because it's always levels. I don't care how long you've been together, it's always levels of where you go, because if you're a human being, you're growing. You're not staying stagnant. You
Mm-mm.
shouldn't be at the same place at 26, at 56 as you were at 26.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely. I
take
love
that
that.
into consideration and understand that it's not just you. The two of you have to come together and make sure that the other person is good. And that involves compromise. That involves sometimes just being quiet.
Mm.
That involves sometimes just saying, you know what? Maybe we need a timeout before we really get into this. How about we just let me go take a walk, or let me go take a drive, or let me, just leave the house for a moment, and when I come back, maybe we can
Mm.
talk about it then. Be mature, especially if it's somebody that you want to be with. Now, if you
Absolutely.
don't care, then hey, go for what you know. But if you value what you have, it's going to require you to take a little time
Absolutely.
and simmer that thing on out. Y'all know, like a crock pot, the crock pot is not
Ooh,
cooking the meat up just like that, right?
just
It's going to slow
right. Takes
cook that thing.
time.
It's going to let it
Absolutely.
marinate in them juices, right? Sometimes your relationship needs to have time to marinate and get in
Yes.
them juices so that when you get ready to talk, it's just like you do that meat when it comes out of the crock pot, it's real tender.
Right.
Let things get to a place where both of you
Mm,
all are able to receive it if somebody
mm,
gives you some information, or you
mm.
can give it without trying to tear them down, because that's not
That
what we're
part.
here for. I'm not trying to tear you down. If anything, let's build each other up to be the best version of ourselves that we can be.
Oh, say that.
That's what I
A
got.
love.
That's what I
Say
got.
that. Say that. You know what? You answered that perfectly. I don't have anything to add.
Come on,
Focusing
Esprit. Now
on the
listen.
actual. Say that again.
I said, I know. Look, I need a little something,
Li-
but you always put the sugar on top. You always put the icing on the cake.
Listen, no, you hit the high points. The compromising obviously is important because we can't always be right all the time, and it can't always go our way all the time.
Okay.
So you definitely want to find that happy medium. So you covered that, and I loved how you said the personal attacks. You can't do that, and that's the one thing that a lot of us, not everybody. If you're not one, I'm not talking about you, but if you are, you know who you are. I've been there, done that myself. We don't focus on the problem. We want to bring up everything else other than the problem that we're handling right now. Let's not talk about last week. Let's not talk about last month. No sister, cousin, brother. We're going to talk about today. And today, in this moment, let's talk about this other than attacking other people or, other situations, because now you're adding more conflict on what's already a conflict. And guess what? Both of you are getting even more madder. Stress is at an ultimate high and somebody wants to leave and walk out. But I love the fact that you said it's okay to take a few minutes to step away. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
But even if you need more than just a few minutes, baby, listen, tonight is not the night for us to resolve it. I love you. I'm going to go to bed. Let's chat tomorrow and less at a time, because a lot of times sometimes we're so angry we can't resolve it right then because that adrenaline is going and we do attack each other. And when that adrenaline is at an all-time high, we are in full attack mode because we go
Mm-hmm.
into self-preservation, and we don't want to do that. So you definitely want to, if you know that you are that angry, take that time. Maybe not 10 minutes. If a drive will do you in, great. If you want to go and let the washing machine or the dryer go, calm you down, do that. Otherwise, say, listen, we can't resolve this tonight. I'm in my feelings or I feel a certain way. Can we talk tomorrow when I've had the time to calm down? You can calm down and we can talk about it, when we're both relieved, or, pick another time or handle it a different way. But you definitely don't want it to go and linger and not resolve it at least within the first 24 hours. I would say that, because then it just builds and it musters and then it becomes a bigger problem because now we can't resolve issues when we have issues, but you truly can. You just need to do it at the right time with the right temperament and have the right mindset, because if the mindset is there, you can resolve anything. Like A Love said, if there's love, you can work through it. But when the love is gone and you just exhausted every effort, everything is going to be confrontation. There's no I want to compromise. So before you get to that point, take that time to step away, get your mind right, come back rejuvenated. You feel clear, you feel good, and you feel that you can speak respectfully, because we fall short in that area as well. When we get angry, we're quick to be disrespectful, and you definitely can't do that because that is a human being. And if someone else were to do that human being like that, what you gonna do? You're gonna have an attitude, right? So you have to look
Yeah.
at it from both sides of the spectrum. So I
Yeah.
love how you answered that question.
Thank you.
That was beautiful. Let's see what you got for part two. It says,
What you say?
let's see.
See what you're working up on part
it,
two.
part two, ladies, you often talk about communication, but can you provide information on how we can improve our communication skills with one another or each other? Excuse me.
Whew. You know what?
You want me to get this one or you got it?
No, go ahead. You can go ahead and take it.
Some quick wins. Definitely quick wins are, you want to make sure, one, that you're answering questions. Make sure that when you're looking for communication, you don't have closed-ended conversations. Make sure your conversations are open. So you're
Mhm.
getting an answer, a detailed answer, not just, oh, yes, no, whatever, I don't know. Don't do that. Be willing to have a conversation to the point where you can explain and express yourself, because that's key. And pay attention to people's body language, because that's the thing. A
Yeah.
lot of times we're so upset, or what's the word, vexed or whatever. We don't pay attention to how they're feeling. And a lot of times our bodies say, oh, she big mad, or
Oh,
hey, he's stressed out. So pay attention to the body language, and
yeah.
then start adjusting your tone when you're trying to communicate, so it doesn't come off abrasive or like you're being the aggressor. And always, show empathy, because that's the one thing when you're communicating with someone and you want to, have a better type of conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure that you are being empathetic, not only to the conversation, but to their needs, and make sure they see that you are trying to be empathetic, and be willing to give feedback, right? But also be willing to receive that feedback, because a lot of times in communication, we can throw it, but we can't take it.
Ooh,
So
say it.
that, yes, that's key. And a lot of us don't want to, see that. We don't want to realize that, hey, you know what? I can tell you about you all day long, but don't tell me about me because I'm perfect. No, none of us are perfect. That man is no longer with us in flesh. So at this point, we have to understand that we have to be attentive, and we have to be able to receive something that someone else feels that we're doing. So even if you don't feel that you're wrong, make sure that you are receiving it, because guess what? That's their perception of how something took place. You may not agree, but you need to be empathetic to it. You need to listen, and you need to make sure that you're not popping off like pop rockets when someone is telling you about you, because then you're in your feelings. And I know it's crazy, but I'll tell my clients in a heartbeat, role play. And
Mm.
people don't like that. But when you do something as simple as role playing, guess what? You get to see how that individual feels that you're communicating with them. You get to see how you are perceived by that other person. So in
Mm.
your mind, if you're being positive and everything sounds good, but that other person is rolling the neck and pointing the fingers, and
Right.
the octave levels go up, guess what? That's how they perceived you in that moment. And if that's not what your intentions were, then you need to reevaluate your communication or your tone of communication. And lastly, always take time to reflect about your conversation, especially in a relationship. Even though it may not be a bad situation, but take time to reflect afterwards, to make sure you gave the right answers, to make sure that you listened, and that, everything is intact the way you need it to be. And also get confirmation from your mate saying, hey, I think we did really good last night. Compliment them. Or, today when we had this conversation, I really thought it was going to go left or right, but, it went this way. And I appreciate that we can talk. So compliment, give feedback, and, again, pay attention to body languages, because that is super important.
It is. I love all of that. I love that. And the only thing I would say I would probably add is when you're with someone, you need to pay attention to who you're with. Understand how they communicate. Because some people don't like all this long, drawn out stuff. They just want to direct. Give it to me straight with no chases so we can go on and move on, deal with it or whatever. Other people, you got to ease into that thing. You know what I'm saying? You just can't come and hit them, or don't catch somebody as soon as they walk in the house after a long day, because you already irritated because you done been in traffic, you done dealt with some people during the day. That's not the time for us to talk about finances and why you spent this money here and why this, then the other happened, or the kids acting a fool at school. I need you to. That's not the time to have that conversation. You need to know who you're dealing with, and then pick a better time to approach them in the manner that makes the most sense to them. Because if
Absolutely.
not, what happens is people shut down. If you come to
Yes,
me clock out and crazy, I've already tuned you out because you came at me incorrect. So you got to know that. You got to know the communication style. You know what I'm saying? Even for Esmery and myself, we feed off each other because we pay attention. Pay attention to
absolutely.
how people do things, how they say things, how they
Mhm,
work. So that way
mhm.
you can come with the best possible scenario, and it's going to make sense to them. But also you got to be willing to apologize sometimes.
Yes,
An
yes,
apology goes a long way. Sometimes you got to take responsibility for what you did,
absolutely.
say that you're sorry, because sometimes that's all people really want. I
Yeah.
just want you to acknowledge that you fumbled the
Hurt
ball
my feelings. Yes.
and tell me that you're sorry. And
Yeah.
now I can move on. But it's the acting like you didn't do anything that
Right.
creates a problem. It's the
Hmm.
not wanting to apologize because you feel like you're right. Well, do you want to be right, or do you want to be able to resolve this so we can move on and be happy? Because being right sometimes will get you in a situation you don't really want to be in. And you got to
That.
think about it. I remember a supervisor was telling me before, and I know y'all heard this, but do you want to win the battle or the war?
Oof.
Choose your battles wisely. Because
Yes.
sometimes you got to say, you know what, you can have that baby, because I'm looking at the bigger picture. And it's not
Right.
worth me fighting tooth and nail for this little bit of
It's
space right
something.
here when I can just say, you know what, go ahead on and do that. Because at the end of the day, it's
It's
all
not
going to work out.
worth it.
I'm going to be
Right.
okay in the long run, but I'm not going to mess up this weekend
Mm,
just to say that I'm right.
absolutely.
But it takes
Absolutely.
maturity. It takes maturity to get there.
Yeah. And I love what you said about, you know, admitting when you're wrong and just saying, I'm sorry. But you know what? Sometimes, and I want people to hear this really clearly, it's not always about you being wrong that you have to apologize.
Yeah,
Sometimes it is just cool to apologize because you offended or hurt the person that you love. You
yeah,
may not be wrong at all. But,
exactly.
and I'm quick because again, I tell people I'm an Aries also. I'm not with the, oh, I'm sorry. I'm not with that. And you were in my head, A Love. I want to tell you that because when you said tuning people out, I am a pro. That must be in Aries DNA because baby, we can cut you off and we can tune you out really quick.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is that one, I know who I am. So I do have to practice on that. But I love the fact that you said it's okay to apologize. But no, it's not always that you're apologizing because you're wrong. You're apologizing because you care and you want to diffuse the situation. And I'm not saying do that all the time. I'm just saying knowing is half the battle. That you will hurt somebody that you love and you don't want the conflict. So sometimes it's just easier to say, I understand how you feel. I apologize for making you feel that way. But you don't apologize for,
Mm-hmm.
hey, I'm wrong, unless you are wrong. So again, it's your words. It's what you express, how you say it, and the receiving end of the person that you're communicating with. That's super important. So I
Yeah.
love that. That was a really, really good question.
Hope that helps somebody, talking
I
about communicating
know.
skills and styles, because you know what? It takes a lot. And you also have to realize sometimes when you're talking to people, sometimes you trigger something and it really may
Yes,
not even be you. Maybe they're thinking that, they never got a chance to deal with this situation and it's coming up again and you just get the brunt of it. But that's
absolutely.
when you sometimes may say, you know what, I'm so sorry that you took this out of context, because maybe
Absolutely.
somebody else tried to put you down and make you feel small and all that. That wasn't my intention. I just
Absolutely.
told you this because, in whatever that is, but I'm sorry you took it incorrectly.
Absolutely. I love that.
And
That's
know that
important.
you know what I'm saying, everything is really not about you. And in that moment, some people get
Mhm.
triggered by things they haven't healed from. And if you bring with
Absolutely.
somebody who hasn't healed from some things, they may respond in a way that you like, oh, wait a minute,
Right. Where did this come from?
hold up.
Mhm.
How did we get here? But
Right.
y'all know we are dealing with some things, and it may take, if it's a thing that you feel like we've talked and I've prayed and we did all these things and the
Mhm.
situation is still there, it may be that y'all need to seek counseling, or that
Yes.
person needs to talk to somebody, a little bit more and get some professional help. And I know
Absolutely.
that it used to be an unpopular opinion, but these days more people are recognizing that, you know what, I need
I
to talk
need.
to somebody. I need
Yeah.
to get this up off of me because I'm tired of feeling attacked or
Mm.
feeling, resentful or angry. I'm tired of feeling like that. I'm tired of people walking on eggshells around me because they don't know if I'm going to snap, crackle, and pop at any given moment.
Right.
Maybe you need to seek some help, because
Yeah.
that's not a healthy place to be in. And you shouldn't always want to be on 10 every
Mm-hmm.
time something happens or every time you're having
Right.
conversations. That's a
Mm-hmm.
problem. And so take the time to invest in talking to someone who can help you figure out where is this coming from.
Right. Right.
Is
That baggage
That's
is something
investing
else.
in you. That's
Yeah.
investing in you and the people that
Mhm.
you love.
Absolutely. You said that, A Love. Moving on to number two.
Moving on to the next one, baby.
All right. This one tickled me.
Okay.
It says, "Hey ladies, my husband and I are having a conflict of interest.
Mhm.
I grew up in a household where he grew up in a household where he was not physically disciplined, and I grew up where I was disciplined. What are your thoughts on parenting and disciplining your children? Your children. Oh, it's not a what country. Oh my goodness. Um, do or have you all disciplined your children? What should we do? Spankings or not?" So that is cute. So I will say this, and this is now I'm giving you insight on my childhood.
Uh-huh.
So it's twofold. My mom would pop the mess out you, baby, with whatever she had going on. Okay,
Uh-huh.
you say the wrong thing, she was on pop, pop. Seriously. However, my dad, on the other hand, was not. He was not a discipline. He disciplined with his words
Mm.
and his respect that we had for him.
Mhm.
Um, and maybe a little fear, when we were younger, like you knew better than to play with daddy because you just didn't want them hands, right?
Right. Right.
Um, but I didn't spank my son when he was younger. Now, mind you, my child has been bigger than me since he was 12. But even prior to, I didn't believe in hitting only because I felt like I set those boundaries
Uh-huh.
up front. So, when I give you that look, you better sit down. Okay? You don't have to cut up on being a store, or you
Uh-huh.
don't speak when you're not being spoken to. So
Right.
when you teach them certain things, you really don't have to spank them. It's all in your communication and your delivery and what you believe in.
Uh-huh.
But at the same time, if you believe in spankings, as I said, I have them. Now, I think my child is perfectly fine. Now, mind you, I'm not saying he's perfect, but he's perfectly fine. He didn't, receive spankings, but he's very disciplined.
Uh-huh.
But at the same time, I did receive spankings and I'm very disciplined. But also I have a sister who total polar opposite. However, we are still disciplined. So I think really it's truly up to you and your spouse what you want to do. And I think we had this conversation last season where we talked about not always introducing into your new marriage and your new family what you had in the past. Just because your parents did this or someone else's parents did, that doesn't make it right. You have to create your own traditions. You have to create your own rules and laws within your household.
Yeah.
So again, if you guys maybe you agree on certain things require a different type of punishment, but you have to define the goal of what you're trying to accomplish when you're trying to discipline your children. And I say that because it is imperative that parents be on the same page.
Amen.
So if you say I'm gonna pop the mess out you, and then the father is saying, "No, don't hit my baby,"
Uh-huh.
definitely going to be a situation because they're going to get different sides of the earth when they're with different parents. But you
Exactly.
also don't want to create conflict within your marriage because you are the one spanking and he's like, "I forbid you to do that," but then that becomes confrontational. So again, compromise is going to be your best friend. Figure out what situation is relevant to a popping or taking something away, or and spankings are different. A lot of people, my son with his daughter, he would thump them. Just one little thump. They
Uh-huh.
knew, oh, daddy's for real, so I can't. But it's not a spanking, it's that attention grasp that says, hey, I know better. Let me not do this. So you guys figure it out. You have to come up with that compromise. We can give you suggestions, but it's truly up to you. But I shared my experience because again, I grew up with those two different sides. So I knew mom was going to tag and bag me, okay? But I might get a little leeway when my dad is just,
Yeah.
hey, I can't read the books that I want. We can't go outside. But there wasn't nothing physical, but I wasn't abused either. So you also have to be, cognizant of that because this day and age,
Yeah.
people can
Mhm.
holler abuse and it's a whole different ball game for you and your spouse. So I will say compromise, but also understand that consistency is going to be your key in whatever you do. What one does, the other should do. And if not, you at least have to support the other parent in how and what they're doing to the children. Because again, those are your kids. If they're in your household, those are your kids. So you have to raise them the best way you know how.
Love it, love it, love it.
Mhm.
In listening to that, like you say, it kind of makes you laugh because you're thinking, like, yes, I'm telling you that to discipline your children.
Yeah.
What I'm going to say is this: each child is different. So you got
Yes.
to know your children. See,
Mm.
it's some children that you spank and it makes them more of, is that all, like how Tina Turner
Right.
go,
That's all you got.
all you got? And it doesn't phase them. So now you got to figure
Absolutely.
out what is going to make your child recognize that, okay, this was not a good choice and I need
Mhm.
to not make this choice again. Is spanking them going to make them say, you know what, I don't ever want to be spanked again? I'm not
Absolutely.
going to ever do that again. Mommy, daddy, please, please don't. Or is it going to be taking something away from them? Because for some kids,
Mhm.
it's you're killing me if you take away my phone or you take away the TV, or you
Right.
got to know your child. You also got to think,
Mhm.
for some of them, it is stand up against the wall and,
Right.
and be in timeout. You got to think about what is it, because each child is different. You can spank three
Absolutely.
kids in a row, and one of them is going to look at you like, and they're going to swell up in anger. The other one is going to be crying, and the other one is just going to be sitting there looking like, I don't know what's going on. I'm just, it's here.
Right.
It really is about the child and what is
Yeah.
going to be the one that's going to help them recognize, because the goal of spanking or disciplining your kids is that you want them to learn the lesson of not doing this, so you want to give them negative consequences. The
Right.
consequence has to mean something to them, and if it's a child that don't mind getting spanked, spank me. As long as you don't take away my phone, as long as you don't keep me from going to my friends, as long as you don't whatever, baby, hit me, I'm good. Then you have the others who like, don't put me in timeout because I love talking to people. I love that's the worst thing you can do for me. You gotta know that. You gotta know your kid and figure
Absolutely.
out what's gonna work so that you can get the desired result.
Hey, love, I came with you. She said, spank me.
Girl, it's not giving like I'll take a whooping, but look, okay, how many
Leave
you
that
know if you
phone.
want bet if I get this paddle, if I get this, can I go outside and play after you with me? Okay,
Yeah,
I'll take.
listen, but that, and it's funny that you say that because there are a lot of children this day and age where if you take their phone, it's the end of the world.
Baby,
Um,
traumatizing,
they are
traumatizing.
traumatized. However, I grew up when phones weren't, there was no phones. So it was, hey, go outside, not go outside, play with your
Mhm.
friends, not play with your
Girl, you gotta
friends,
go outside, girl. You crazy?
right.
I gotta go outside because my friends are waiting on
Because
me.
my friends waiting
No,
on
spank
me,
me, girl.
right,
Look,
outside.
you need to go pick a switch. Hold on, let me go out here and get
Let
one.
me get it.
Yes,
Let me get it. And see, depending on what type of parent or grandma they had, honey, don't get it. Don't get one of those itty bitty ones because then they gonna tie it
baby.
together.
Cause that right
But
there
that
be
might be before
look,
they time,
it be ripping and popping. Look, you be here like whoop, whoop, whoop.
right?
Yeah, you don't want that
Pushing
one.
it around.
I want
Absolutely.
that one.
But
Look, they sing
but
back.
seriously,
Don't get that one. Look,
don't get
that's not the one I
right.
go out there and get
Absolutely. You
another
know
one.
which one to get. But again, we are being, we're being serious and we are making light of it. But at the end of the day, it is truly what you want to do.
It is.
Because there are some people who would say, you know what, my mom or my dad tore me up. That's why I'm responsible, or that's why I am today. And then some people may tell you, hey, I'm this way because I was taught to. I was taught lessons, or I was, our dialect was different. So really and truly, I love what Ayla said. You have to know your children, because again, I'm not the type of person to be hit, because if you hit me, that's disrespectful to me.
Mm-hmm.
However, you know, my sister, she can care. She's like you. Listen, I'll take that whooping as long as I can do what I want to do. So again, it just if you know your children, then you know what's important to them. If you know your spouse, then you know, hey, what boundaries to cross and what boundaries not. It's just as simple. If they spill something on the floor, are you going to spank them for that? Absolutely not. So have those conversations about what determines a spanking and what type of spankings you're going to give, because again, this day and age is different. You can't really pop them with belts and things like that if you're going to give a spanking, because again, that could be abuse. Whereas, years ago, they used to paddle people in school. So
Do they?
it's true. Yes, it's truly different. At least up north. So
Oh
it's
yeah, they
it's
did down
different.
south too. Look, they
They
did.
did downside.
They did down south too. But you know what? This is the main thing is know your child, but also be on the
Absolutely.
same page. Parents have to
Hmm.
be on the same page because if even if
Hmm.
you're not together, I can't be doing this over here and then they get over there with you and you just like the child, your mama crazy and
Right.
whatever, whatever. We got to be on the same page so that way it keeps up consistent behavior. So the child
Absolutely.
knows I'm not gonna get away with one thing over here and get away with another thing because okay, well wait till my daddy can get home and then I'm gonna get what I want. It can't
Right.
be like that. Y'all gotta be on the same page in order for your child
Consistent.
to know that hey, there are consequences behind what you did. Figure out what's going to
Absolutely.
work to make them not want to do it again, and then that's what you do.
I love it. That's it. That's it. That's all.
That's it. That's all.
That's it. That's all. So we got one more we'll do because we
Okay.
got 20 minutes. So let's just see this where this one takes us. So number 3 says, "Hey ladies, why is it that when people get into relationships, they forget all about their friends? Why is it only when they get married? They feel like they can't go out anymore, or when they start seeing someone, they put their friends down, then allowing them to choose who they can or cannot hang around or hang out with. Is that a rule or a thing? Curious, Anna.
Anna said,
Um,
inquiring minds want to know what's going on.
right. Um, so okay, so I can start this one. um there are no rules to everyone's marriage. Your marriage is your marriage, your relationship is your relationship. So if your friends are allowing their spouses to say, hey, you can't hang out with this person, and that's between that man and that woman and that, whatever situation they have. We're grown, right? So it's not more or less allowing, it's a respect thing. So you definitely want to respect your mate, but you also have to think of, if you were in this situation, if you guys were doing certain things that that person's mate wouldn't like, or maybe you wouldn't like, if you were in a relationship and someone wanted your mate to do that, would it be okay then if the role was reversed? So one, my advice is respect your friends, and respect their relationship. um and just ask, is there something that that individual doesn't like that you do? Or maybe they feel like there is some kind of impression or influence that may not be, they may not want their mate around. You don't know. So I would be respectfully curious, Miss Anna, because you don't want to overstep and you want to respect the boundaries of that person. But when people enter into like new relationships, you have to invest a lot of time in those relationships to know if that's the person that you want to spend the rest of your life with, or however many years you're going to be with that person. So they do have to take some time apart from having that friendship that you're with every single day, because now they have to balance their time not only with work, family, and friends, but now with this person that they're trying to be with. So you have to give them space, and again, create boundaries for you and that person. That person is going to have to create boundaries for you, because they're trying to build something great. And maybe if you don't have one, maybe that's why you're missing out, because now all your free time is truly your free time without that person. So people go through life changes. So I don't think there is a rule. I think there's just people who are willing to respect their marriage or their relationship, or people who truly want to get to know that person, because it takes more than a day. They say Rome wasn't built in a day. A relationship was not built in one day. It's not just, oh, I'm only going to hang out with my boyfriend, from 2 to 10, but then all my other time is with you. It can't be that way because you have to know the person in the light and the dark. So, you definitely want as much time with that person as you possibly can. And then, again, if you do have a spouse or a friend or someone you're dating, try to do couples dating or do something that both of the people will feel comfortable doing. Don't make it just about you and your friend, because again, that friend is going to want to share some special moments with their mate. Because that's how you get to know each other. That's who you bond with. And they're going to have their own bond and relationship. So you can't always just assume that, oh, that person is dictating. That person really may want to spend time with the person that they choose to be with because they're trying to build something special. And that's what relationships are. They are something special. So you have your special time, but that person needs their special time with their mate as well.
That's great information.
That's great.
And you know what? I think that, people have to realize that priorities change. And when
Yes.
you get with someone else, priorities change. And it's something, and that's life. Some people get a new job that requires them to do more. And so I can't hang out and do what we used to do. I can't hang out on the weekends and then get up and go to work
Mm,
the next morning. I want to be home so I can relax and chill before I go. Or you think people who have children, they don't do the same thing that they did before because they have other responsibilities. And so it's not anything against you. It's just that things have changed. And whereas all of my time, or we used to hang out and we used to do certain things, now that I'm with my significant other or my spouse, we have different priorities. Maybe we're trying to save money to build up towards a house, or maybe we were trying to do retirement or whatever. So before, when I was free and single, baby, I was out here just, I could use that free money and say, let's go here, let's go all out of town, let's go to the club, let's go out to dinner. Now I have somebody else who's saying, okay, we're taking this extra money, we're putting it up to save for our kids' college fund, or, to buy a home, or to, whatever. Things change and it
mm,
shifts. And so what I would suggest is that if your relationship with your friend is not the same, have a conversation with your friend, because sometimes, when you get all in love, maybe you want to be booed up. Hey, Miss Doris, you want to be booed up. And when you want to be booed up, it sometimes causes you to say, girl, I'm just enjoying where I'm at. And
absolutely.
this is where I want to be. And because it's where I want to be, it's not that I don't want to be with you, but I want to be over here more.
Absolutely.
What I'm trying to do and build, I got to put quality time in. It's
Oof.
just like when somebody goes to college and
Yeah.
now they have other things that takes up their time. I can't go and do the things with you we used to do, or talk on the phone with you, or come onto your house and hang up, because I got papers to write, tests to study for. I have other things going on. So you have to think about things change, and it's unfortunate that you are left out, or you don't have the same amount of time, and it really doesn't have anything to do with them saying, hey, deuces to you. It's just that in the course of a day, if I am with my husband, if I am working a job, if I'm going to school, if I'm
Yeah.
starting a business, if I have children, if my elderly parent gets sick, other
Right.
things take up time, to where, unfortunately, our friendship has to take a back seat. I'm not saying
Mhm.
that I don't care about you and I don't love you. It's just that in the scheme of things, other things take, it absorbs the time that I
Yeah.
had available before that I just don't have
Absolutely.
available now. Or if I have extra time, I want to invest it in this person that I'm investing my life with.
Absolutely.
And so again, it's a matter of having a conversation if it's
Yeah.
bothering you, to ensure that it's not you or them. It's not that they don't love you any more than or less than they did before. It's just that, hey, maybe y'all now need to get on each other's calendar. You know,
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, I need to get on your calendar. We're overdue for going out to eat or hanging out. When do you have time? Maybe it's gonna be 2 weeks from now. Maybe I used to hang out every Thursday and Friday. I can't do that now.
You
Maybe I
do.
can get one Thursday of the month. Maybe I need to catch you, 2 weeks from today, but maybe y'all need to plan it. It can't be spontaneous like it did before.
Right. And if it is, you have to be respectful of that
Mhm.
person's situation. And again, it is just like having kids. You said it. When you have kids, you won't be able to do what you did 2 years ago
Right.
today, because children need clothes, they need to be fed, they got bedtime, schoolwork, whatever. So I think that's the misconception, is that hey, they don't hang out and it must be the other person. And it may not be that at all, because who's to say that that person is saying, well, why aren't you hanging out with your friends? Why
Mhm.
aren't you? And that person, I'm tired, or rough day, long day, or hey, I just want to spend time with you. So don't always assume it's the other person. I think that
True.
again, it's a good book, ask and ye shall receive. So ask your friend, hey, what's going
Mhm.
on? We don't hang out much. Like, are you good? Did I do something? You do something? Whatever. But also, I will say this: if you have a really good friend, and my friends are far and few, so we know each other like books, but you know, you won't have to ask, did I do something? Did you do something?
Right.
What's going on? What's going on? I hadn't seen you, everything good? Anything you need help with? Offer your assistance or offer your ear to make sure that they aren't going through something, and maybe there is the reason for the disconnect. So communication is always going to be your friend, because when you assume things, you know it causes more conflict than you're really ready for. So just make sure that you want to ask from a good standpoint before you just decide, okay, it's the boyfriend and he just doesn't want us hanging out, or she this or she that. No, ask so you know what the true situation is, so then you can better understand. Because I'll tell you, sometimes in relationships we get complacent, we get
Yeah.
happy, we get, this love is just going and it's popping, and guess what? I just want to lay around and cuddle. That's what people do. So it's not about, hey, I don't want to be your friend, or hey, I can't. It's like, hey, I'm feeling this situation right here, and this is what I choose to do. So definitely get on my calendar, let's book something. Or, hey, let's have a one day out of a month, if I can spare that
Mhm.
we hang out. But again, I love what you said. It has to be some sort of schedule or some sort of communication, because when you assume the worst of your friends, you might lose your friend just because you and your feelings assuming something that may not be true.
And I mean, sometimes let's just keep it real. Sometimes friends are just hanging out. Y'all going to the club or y'all hanging out because I'm looking for somebody. Now that I found what I was looking for, I don't have the need to go and do
Oh,
that.
out,
Maybe
right.
so you got to understand the basis of the relationship, and sometimes people hang out and gravitate together because they can until
Yes.
they can't.
Yeah.
Whatever they were looking for, things change.
Right.
Relationships change, and people that you were BFFs with, in 12th grade, you may not even really talk to them on a regular basis now. You know,
Right.
and
Right.
and you may think, oh, they got married, or oh, they got whatever, and now they don't want to fool with anybody. It's not that they become who they always were. They couldn't show it to you because they didn't have anybody else to fill up their space.
Absolutely. Ooh, now that's good. That's good right there. That is a really good one, because we don't know. And again, people change and grow.
Mhm.
At 29, I may think it's cute to club, but maybe once I hit that dirty 30, I'm too grown for this. Or hey, I no longer have a reason. But again, you made a very valid point. There's a common denominator. If you are hanging out at clubs with your friend, you might have been looking for a man, or you might have been looking for a good time. But guess what? They have somebody now, so they have a good time at
I have
home.
a good time
You don't
all the
always have to go out, right?
time. Right.
You
Like
don't have to go out.
in the house. Or maybe it's that, what? Now
Yeah,
that I'm booed up, I have different priorities. So before, when we
absolutely.
go out and drink and stuff all the time, I don't want to drink all the time. I don't want to play cards all the time. I don't want to do.
Right?
Now we booed up watching the latest series. We watching sisters, or we watching football, or we're doing, you know what I'm saying, things change
Right.
for me. And so what I used to like to do, I like indoor activities now. I like being at home. I like coming in and frying chicken, or ordering a pizza, and we at our own house doing our thing. And
Yes.
so again, if it is a source of if it's a reason that you feel like, you know what, I miss my friend, then
Mm.
tell your friend, because sometimes people just get caught up in they just are
Yeah.
loving the new version of them.
Right.
And you know it's not that they don't love you, but at the same time they don't miss you the same way you miss them. And so
Absolutely.
that's just the reality of things. But if it's worth it to you, then have a conversation, because sometimes, you know what, you thinking it's him, but like you said, Marie, he might be like, boo, what, gone with your girl? Yeah, you. And
Right. Go.
she may be like, no, boo, I'm gonna stay here with you. I'll
Yeah.
get, they'll be all right. She can go on and call somebody else, and you thinking
Right.
it's him keeping her, and he telling her, go hang out, and she was like,
Go
I
ahead.
want
Mhm.
to, I want to stay here with you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we do that. And it's nothing, personal. It is just that. We change, we mature. Our mindset just isn't going to remain the same for forever. As friends, you there are times where you will grow apart, but there are times where your purpose and your mission and vision are different. But that doesn't mean that you can't be the friend just because you're on different wavelengths, because at the end of the day, you still love your friend. You still
Mhm.
have, there is no disconnect other than the fact that you can't spend as much time together. That doesn't make you love that person less just because you can't spend time with them. And if your relationship was built on just time, then you definitely have a problem, because obviously, you want to have some kind of bond with that person. And it may be that you enjoy their time, but what are you doing that you enjoy time with that person? That still remains.
But
So,
think about this,
think of the bright side. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry, I cut you off. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, think of the bright side that, hey, you still share a bond with this person that no one else has. So even though they've gotten a maid, spouse, whatever, you still have a bond with that person. That's not going to go away unless you allow it to.
Exactly. And I was going to say, you know what? And put things into perspective. You don't still go and see your mama now like you did when you were younger. You grew up in a house with them and spent a lot of time with them. But when you get older and move on in life, you don't
Mm,
still say, oh, I got to be around my mama all the time.
yeah,
It's just a reality of life. And relationships shift and change. You don't love your mom any less because you grew up and moved on to live your own life. You still
absolutely.
love your mom. You still go and see her on holidays or call and check on her, whatever. Understand that when your friends move on to other relationships,
Hmm.
you still love them. It may be from a
Absolutely.
distance, but you're still there. It may shift, but so does every other relationship in your life.
Yes, that part. That is true. That is true. Everybody grows. So just be,
Everybody.
I think just the word, the message is be ready for growth and change. When
Yeah,
you can't adapt, then you really have to reevaluate and reset, because nothing is going to stay the same for forever. Now, maybe a house, yes, but people,
it's gonna
people
get ragged.
change.
Look, y'all look
Yes,
in them houses, be sitting over there, and then next thing you know, the
right.
doors are slid down, and grass is all up over the thing. Yeah, no, nothing
Yeah.
stays the same. I'm telling you, even to the point of, if you leave and come back, guess
Mhm.
what? It's something different. It's not going to be the same. You're going to see it from a different perspective because you have different experiences. So even when you go back home to visit, you're just like, oh my God, it just looks so smaller if you've been exposed to bigger things. Or, ooh, I didn't realize, this was like this when I was in it. But now that I've moved on, it's
It's different.
different. And that's
Mhm.
just life. As you grow, things change. And as you grow, allow your perception of relationships to also grow, so that
Yeah,
you make room for your friends. I don't have to be with you every day. I don't have to talk to you every day. But if you need me, I'm always going to be there.
absolutely. Absolutely. I love that. That's it.
That's it. So we out of time. Listen,
We out of time. That's it. That's
Dang,
it.
it was good. It was good to have
Yeah.
the confessions or the conversation starters, because people do have situations that they want to talk about. Relationships can be hard. I'm telling you,
Absolutely.
you want things to be a certain way, but at the same time, things change and you need to be able to adapt to that and not take it personal. Adapt to it. If you love somebody, love them unconditionally. No matter what
Unconditional.
comes through, what happens, what changes, love
Right.
them for who they are, and then go on and do your thing. And it may mean that it's a relationship, it may be a season, it may be a reason, it may be a lifetime. And that's okay
Right.
too.
Absolutely.
Understand where people fit in and then handle them accordingly. And don't try to hold on to somebody who was just a reason person and you try
Mm.
to make them a lifetime person.
Mm. Now, see, you done went into something totally different, A
I know.
Love.
Look, I'm
But
sorry. Look,
no,
next
that no,
week,
but that's
next Tuesday.
next show. Next show. But that's a
Next
good
show for
one.
that one. Yes.
Absolutely. That's a good one. We're gonna leave y'all with that. It's been a wonderful show. We hope that you guys enjoyed it. Follow us on all platforms, Relationship Exchange, SMD,
Mhm.
and we'll see
Yes.
y'all next week.
See y'all next week. And listen, if y'all want to send a confession, make sure you do so. We would love to
Please do
hear it, or a point of view or something you just need some clarity about, or share, something that you've dealt
that.
with that may help, because you never know, you may help somebody else. So make sure you share it, right? Because we would love to talk about it. And I'm sure somebody else is going to be tuned in listening because they need some wisdom on their same type of situation. So don't hesitate.
All right.
All right. See y'all next week.